Well, hello and welcome to Knife Delights. It's time for another 2 for Tuesday. You know, that easy open tag that I invite all channels to participate in. It's really easy. Just grab a couple of knives and talk about them. Well, on the table today, we've got a pair of trappers. And one here is an old timer. And another one here is a Vernon. And I don't know much about this Vernon, except that it looks like it was made in the Imperial factory over in Ireland. So both of these knives came out of that big basket of knives that I got here a few months ago. And I had just kind of set them aside. This one looks like it could use just a little bit of cleaning on the back springs. But for the most part, they're good, in good condition. So we'll look at this Vernon here. And I did find a Imperial Frontier Ireland made trapper that it had the green saw cut Delrin. Now if we open this up, all we see here is it says Vernon Ireland stainless, and of course we got Vernon here in the shield, and it looks like I can't find any information out about Vernon knives. Now there is a custom knife maker now under the name of Vernon, I believe, but I can't find any information out about these old slip joints here. So the reason, I think this was made by Imperial for Vernon, and the reason I say that is because of the Ireland there. And as we all know that Imperial stopped manufacturing their knives here in around 1988. And they purchased the Jowica plant over in Ireland. I got a little information here. The Jowica stands for Johann and Wilhelm Kleinwiefers, GmbH, and Messer Fabrik. So supposedly that's how you get JWK for short, or the abbreviation or acronym Jowica. So Jowica was founded in Solingen, Germany in 1928. It was later sold to Eugene Weber in the 1930s. In 1960, Weber opened a factory in Listowel, Ireland. It was sold to Albert M. Baer of Imperial Schrade in 1978. He kept on the German manager. The Listowel factory was closed about a year and a half before the U.S. Schrade factory closed. So the picture I did see of the Imperial Frontier looks exactly like this, except it was in the green. Of course, you got the saw cut Delrin, and it's bare down here. Other than that, it's pretty much just your standard trapper knife. Okay, so we got what I believe to have an Imperial connection here. Well, then we get to this old timer. Now, Imperial Schrade had a long-standing relationship for a long time, and it's complicated. But what I believe well, let's look at this knife here real quick. This is what they're calling a gunboat trapper, and I can't figure out why they call it a gunboat trapper. It looks like a dog-leg trapper to me. I know what a gunboat canoe is, why they refer to this as a gunboat. Maybe you can help me in the comments below, because I just don't know why. But let's look at the tang stamps here real quick. And as you can see, we've got Schrade there. And then we've got 94 OT on the back. Now let's go into a little bit of a history here. So despite its long history of success, Imperial Schrade faced increasing financial challenges in the early 2000s. Rising production costs, competition from overseas manufacturers, and shifting market demands led to their company's closure in 2004. The factory in Ellenville, New York was shut down, and Schrade ceased U.S. production, marking the end of an era for American-made Schrade knives. So following the closure of Imperial Schrade, the Schrade brand was acquired by Taylor Brands LLC, which moved production overseas while maintaining the brand's signature designs. Under Taylor Brands, Schrade continued to produce Old Timer, Uncle Henry, and other classic knife models, making them accessible to a new generation of knife users. In 2016, Taylor Brands was acquired by Battenfeld Technologies, a subsidiary of Smith & Wesson. The acquisition further revitalized the Schrade brand, leading to new product innovations, enhanced materials, and a focus on both classic and modern knife designs. Now, I read all of that because it's important when we see this next slide here. We can see that the 94 OT is still available. However, it's got the new shield to it. You see the new Old Timer shield to it? And if you look at the tang stamp, it looks different. It says Old Timer, and then it's got like a 4-digit number down there. And let's see, it costs us $17.95. So I bring that up because on here we see Schrade. Now a Schrade USA made would say Schrade USA and then the model number underneath, if I remember correctly. But this has Schrade here and then 94 OT on the pile side, and there's no other markings. So it doesn't say USA and it doesn't say China. I'm assuming that this one was made sometime roughly after Taylor LLC bought Schrade, because they kind of kept the same model numbers and that. They did move production overseas, which is why I wouldn't say USA. So I'm assuming this was made in China. But this one is before the more modern acquisition of the name, to where they changed the shield and they started using different model numbers on them. Of course, the 94 OT pattern is this dog leg. It does have the brass bolsters on it. Again, the traditional saw cut Delrin, the brown, making it look like bone there. I always thought they did a wonderful job with their Delrin. Of course, brass liners, 2 springs. It does have the pivot pin, and then it's got the 2 cover pins with it also. And as we can see with the Vernon here, it just has the pivot pin in there. So, a little bit different construction, isn't it? We'll just kind of put them side by side there. They look awful similar though, don't they? And I don't know. I find it fascinating. I don't know if you folks find it fascinating or not, but you know, both of these have their DNA of Imperial or Imperial Schrade. So even though, you know, that says Old Timer and Schrade there, Vernon, they both have their roots back to Imperial. Well, I certainly hope you've enjoyed this video and a quick look at these 2 fantastic trappers. And until next time, have a very delightful day.